in the background.
Fine. That's wonderful. No problem. That's all good. So we are live now with our Piece of the Puzzle series here with Yes Exclusive Flowers. And we have another amazing lady with us from Kenya today, Dr. Catherine Masitsa Rozsa from Samantha's Bridal. So a very warm welcome to you. And for everyone who's missing my mom, she will be here with us any minute. So nice that you took the time to speak to us today. And I want to dive in directly. We had a chat like the other day, just a couple of days ago, and I think it was quite interesting what you told me. But before we are speaking about the projects that you're currently working on, explain the people more about you. How did you get into weddings? I mean, I see also Dr. Catherine Masitsa Rozsa, so I assume you have like a little bit a different background than event planning. So how did you get into weddings, and like what was your journey, and why the name Samantha's Bridal?
So the name doctor there, I'm actually a veterinary surgeon licensed by the board. So I do practice. But that aside, so I already started running my own business. I was running a publishing firm where I published magazines. And when I got married 16 years ago, there was no place to, 17 actually, 17 years ago. Mm-hmm. And there was no place to find where, any resources about getting married. So I started a Samantha's Bridal magazine, which was to just give resources to busy women like myself. I was also in the corporate world. I was working for the European Union at the time. So I was very busy running a business on the other side. So I wanted something to help busy women like myself at the time. So I started the magazine. And then why Samantha's Bridal? Because women always drive, to now, they still drive the wedding process. So, yeah, so I didn't want to give it a generic name because I thought just feeling the way I felt with my wedding, because I was the guinea pig at the time, I felt people needed a more personal touch. So I didn't want to give it a generic name. I wanted a name. So, and I didn't want to use my name at the time. And I thought, I like soap operas. Yes. So there was a lady I liked in a soap opera. She was the mother of the guy I liked in the soap opera. So I thought it sounded the same. So we tested the name and everyone liked it. So Samantha's Bridal for that, yeah. But Samantha, actually, it represents a woman who is helping you. She could be your wedding. She can be whoever you want her to be. She could be your wedding planner. She could be your best friend, your mother, whatever you want her to be, she can be. She's your companion in terms of planning your wedding.
Okay, so it's just like more or less. Sometimes you have now these days the websites where you get like instant help, and then it's like a Samantha there basically who's popping up and says, "Hey, I'm ready to help you with your wedding planning." That's actually quite cute.
Yeah, that's what Samantha is about.
And tell us a little bit more about the business itself. When you say you wanted to ease the process, basically for busy women or for busy couples to plan their wedding. So what is it that Samantha's like Bridal is doing really? Like, how do you help busy women to ease the process of their planning?
So what we do is, of course, from the magazine, we quickly moved on to the wedding fairs, which we've been doing for the last 16 years, one of the most successful actually in the region. We also have TV shows, broadcast. Of course, we have the website. That's how we work. We even train wedding planners. And what we do is that we connect busy brides, we connect brides with the most amazing wedding vendors that populate, our platforms. That's what we do. We connect them. We help them navigate. And anyway, not just brides only, anybody planning a wedding or even thinking about a wedding. So that is the space we operate.
Okay. And when you say like you have wedding shows, now maybe coming a little bit into like what we're experiencing right now, did you plan a show like right now during COVID, or like how has this time actually also affected your business right now?
So when it comes to wedding shows, of course, we just had a very, very successful wedding fair in February, towards the end of February. COVID had,
You still made it.
Yeah, too bad for my suppliers because the response was really, really good. One of the very best in so many years. And so we had a lot of brides coming in. And so just 2 weeks after that is when we announced the first COVID case. And of course, the country went into, my country was very swift. Immediately the first case was announced. All schooling, all the schools and public gatherings were actually banned for a time. Only funerals, weddings included, meetings, any kind of public gatherings were banned. So it means so that you could only gather maybe 15 people at a time. Up to now, only 15, whether it's a burial, whatever it is. It actually became illegal. Then a curfew was also declared from roundabout from 7 o'clock up to 5 o'clock in the morning. So you cannot be. We were very swift to contain. So it meant so that basically being in Africa, you know, we like to have big weddings. We like to have many people coming to celebrate. We are people. We like to talk. We like to meet people. So a lot of couples have like postponed their weddings. Postponed. Some decided to go ahead with the weddings with a few numbers, 15. Of course, wearing masks. So that has, but yeah, we are one of those industries that have been really hit. So we had like restaurants closed. Generally, the hospitality industry, we've been hard hit by COVID. Yes.
Yeah, same here in South Africa. I mean, up till now today, actually, we just moved from stage 4 to stage 3, but events are not allowed. The only way how people can gather is right now for funerals. And that's basically it. So, and we do not know what is the end, like whenever it is going to end, like this time period. So it's quite tough for a lot of people in our industry as well. Tell us for Kenya, what is the usual like wedding period? So when do people actually get married? Because when you say you had the wedding fair in Feb, then most probably like people are getting like maybe married rather towards the end of the year. Or what is the typical wedding season in Kenya?
So the typical wedding season is such that December is the highest. And then, of course, we have April is a high season, August is a high season. But let me say that in Kenya, we have a huge strain on venues. So that was like maybe these statistics I'm giving you are like maybe 5 years ago. Right now, we have from September, it begins to become a high season. December still being high. February still a high season. April is a high season, even May. So throughout we have, so people are busy like throughout, but the busiest season is February, April, August, and December that coincide with the school holidays. But people are busy generally. Generally, the industry was performing very well. Almost a double-digit growth. That's what we had.
Okay. And your fairs, do they mostly cater to local customers, basically like local couples, or do they also cater to couples from outside of Kenya?
So most of the weddings, of course, most of them are local, but we have a very robust tourism board that has been marketing Kenya as a destination place. As you know, Kenya, we are blessed with the natural,
Yes.
the ocean. We have a natural a game park within the town,
Yes.
Nairobi town. You've been to Kenya, so you know that. Have you been
Yes.
visited
And I
the
love
national
it. I mean, and I think specifically, and I mean, I speak for someone who looks at Kenya from an outside perspective. I think Kenya has a lot to offer for destination couples who are looking for like an adventurous, romantic type of wedding, like more on the smaller scale, but really personal and with all your eco resorts as well. Like it can be really fantastic. And I think, I mean, not only for the weddings, I mean, we have also the flowers. Kenya being like one of the countries that grows the most beautiful flowers. So our heart is very tied to Kenya in general. Um, Tell me, when you would have to explain to someone from outside of Kenya, what could they expect when they would decide for a wedding in Kenya? Because why I'm asking you this, I've also like asked those questions for a lot of other people, because I believe that the perspective that people have coming from outside is that most probably Africa cannot deliver a certain quality of service. And I'm completely against that. Like, I believe that Africa has a lot that it can offer and a very high service level that it can offer. Obviously, there are like different companies and different level of services, but if people are looking for specific services, they can find it also in Africa.
Well, let me finalize your first question about what kind of weddings. So we have local weddings. We also have destination weddings that come through Kenya, from India, from the UK, from the US. We have diaspora coming in to get married. And, the investment in Kenya already exists. We have what is natural, that nature just endowed us. And then we have already the investment that exists. We have top of the range hotels that already exist. Some of the international top brands already exist. And even some of the luxury brands already have set shop here. And then when it comes to service levels, we just need to go to even our Instagram account or even some Instagram accounts of some of the local vendors. And you will find that in terms of even service, it already exists. We have everything from gowns you can get, from top of the range, any furniture, flowers. We have a lot of some of the top wedding practitioners actually buying flowers from Kenya, like the royal wedding. The flowers are bought from Tambuzi. Yes. And many other, So we supply the world with flowers. So everything you can get. If you want couture fashion, you will get. So the investment is already here. So the people who may say that, I think it's because the media, the international media, already has a stereotype way of telling our stories. But now we tell our own stories to the world. And it's so easy if someone wants to find out about Kenya and they're serious about it, and even about Africa in general, they can find out. The investment is there. The level of, we are service people. One of the things, if you ask we did our survey as a country, what is it that you remember about Kenya? What brings you back? And most time after time after time, it is the people. The people, our service level. Because I travel quite a bit. And when I come back, I'm just like, wow, we have an amazing, one time I was in Italy. You know how Italy is. It's like they're really busy.
Here's my mom.
Hello, how are you? I'm so sorry for being a bit late. I just had to finish something. I'm sorry.
It's all right. You're welcome. So I was just telling
so colorful, beautiful in your background. Wow.
It's a beautiful weather outside. Yeah, you guys are going into winter right now, no?
Winter now,
yes.
So this is the last sun that we are catching.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was saying, once I traveled, and I was saying,
you were saying about Italy.
Yes, and because they're so busy, they're really, really busy. And I was just thinking, so how as a country can we compete with a country like this, you know? And when I sat and I thought about it, and I saw, even though the service level is really good, I realized that as a country, we have something more better. Our service levels are good, and we are not for a mass product.
No.
Kenya is not a product for the masses. We are a very niche product. I mean, how many people can you fit in the Mara? So you come here, the people who end up coming to Kenya, I even realize, are very top-end tourists, top-end people with budgets. So we are ready for that. We've already been serving the luxury market, and we are poised to even serve much better. So whoever says that is just because they don't know. They should just stop being lazy and just do a little bit of a touch, and they will discover that Kenya in general, and even Africa, let me just say generally Africa, even Cape Town, you guys are really good.
No, I mean that's why, like, I am a big ambassador for Africa, and also promoting professional businesses in Africa, because a lot of stereotypes, and this is exactly what you said is right, a lot is made by the media, and we also want to give this platform to share, like, excellent service providers that are also, like, in Africa, to actually give them a platform and say, hey, this is us, and we really, like, know what we are doing. We are here in the business already for so and so long. We have a very specific way how we see service, because I do not believe it is a regional thing, you know, it is a personal thing. So if you as an entrepreneur believes that a certain level of service is necessary for your business, you're going to do it. You have to do it in order for, like, to be successful, whether it is in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, in America. It doesn't matter in my view. But nonetheless, the media, like, a lot of the times, like, really, like, just paints a little bit a different picture of Africa. Africa is in most views very improvised, and I say no, it's not. We have, like, amazing service providers that just sometimes need a shout out, or need to be shown and seen also by the world, basically. Because I believe also what this pandemic is going to do is, generally, weddings will be smaller in number. And people might be willing to travel even, like, further with a smaller crowd, but they will be more adventurous. And I think, like, living in Africa, we have a huge advantage for a huge untapped potential market for those, like, high-end couples who are looking for an experience of their lifetime, something really unique, something, as you said, is not off the shelf, is not a mass product, is really something that is tailored to their needs. And they can get that in Africa, but they most probably cannot get that in Asia or anywhere else, because we have the big five. We have the nature, the landscape. And I mean, Masai Mara,
Victoria Falls, like, all of these like iconic actually places. When you read and hear about history of Africa, did you actually say, I'm sorry, maybe when I'm double, about the new platform that we have, actually? Maybe just say a bit about that, because this is also exactly why we created this new platform, Weddings in Africa, because we have seen these platforms, wedding in Italy, wedding in Spain, wedding in Portugal, wedding in America, in Bali, and I don't know where, but there was just no platform for weddings in Africa. And surprisingly, actually, why not? And we all like know how unique things can be here in Africa, because of the landscape, because of the like the animals that we obviously have, and because of the special, like, vibe that African people have. I mean, like, we are Europeans, but we live in Africa for so long, and we just love the vibe that African, you know, when Africans start dancing, like, I feel like like, I don't know, it's so amazing actually to watch and to feel the spirit. And I think immediately you are in this Africa. And I mean, in these days it's not so good to say that, but before Corona, we said Africa is a very special, nice, positive virus. You know, like this is exactly when you have been here once,
You want to come back.
you want to come back. And
Yes.
that's actually what people need to feel, because they have to overcome the first fear that they have, because it's so unknown, you know. And I think we have to make Africa more known, and people like you and us and a lot of others, we like to reach out to put Africa on the map, because it's time for Africa.
Yeah, it's true. It's time for Africa. What was that song? You finished and I felt like
Shakira.
You've gone off air. You went off air like a few minutes. Can't hear.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, now we can. You know.
Yeah. Yes, sometimes we're struggling a little bit with the internet.
Two ladies with technology.
So let me just do this one here. So one question that I have, because we have spoken about this like the other day. What is your vision right now? You have right now something that you are doing for the events industry, bringing like brides and suppliers together. So what is it that you are currently working on, also like in your own like as Samantha's Bridal, just to give also some other people an idea of maybe what is the future of weddings in Kenya?
Okay, so as far as I'm hearing my echo, I don't know why. So anyway, I think that's okay now. So what happened was that, you know, I said we had a very successful wedding fair, and we work with the industry. Samantha's Bridal works with everyone in the industry. We help them, especially the people in the industry. We help them succeed by giving them this platform and connecting them with couples and all that. So we've always worked as a team. So the last couple of days have been quite, ever since COVID came into this country, it's been a time for reflection for very many people, and all of us have dealt with it in a different way. Some people, it was time to just go quiet. Some people, like, we've dealt with it in a different, in our own ways. So one of the things I personally, as I'm one of the founders of Samantha Bridal, I had to go back. All of us have been stripped to the basics. We are just about, you want to stay safe, you're looking after your health, and you just want to ensure that, you know, food, you know, basic.
Food is on the table.
Yes. It also made me go back to the basics of why did we start Samantha's Bridal as a brand? We've grown, it's a very successful brand in this region. But why did we start it? It made me start to think again. And it was still to help couples, anyone planning a wedding, and also to work with the amazing service providers who are on our platform. But I also realized in growing the brand up to where we are, we've done it together as an industry, at least in this country. The industry has been very supportive of the brand. And so at this time of the crisis, we are going through this crisis, I just also realized that we should be able to come together, because it's not the first time the industry is facing a crisis. I'm sure you may know, you may not know, in 2007, 2008, we had a bit of an upheaval, a political upheaval.
Yeah.
And basically, we went through exactly what we are going through in terms of a lot of weddings were cancelled. That was January, February. A lot of weddings were cancelled. Even we had to cancel the wedding fair. That year was a very challenging year for the industry. But I remember what we did. We pulled together as an industry. We did a peace and reconciliation dinner. We raised funds for some families that were suffering, which we gave to the Red Cross. And it just took me back to that space. And I said, all of us are in this together. and let's just do it together. Let's like support each other and come out of it. So I looked for in terms of how can we support our couples? What are our couples going through right now? They're trying to postpone. Maybe some of them had this year, we have a planning circle, I've realized, in Kenya. From January, people say, okay, this is the year we are getting married. Or maybe if they're getting married in 2 years, they begin the planning.
Yes.
So they begin booking vendors. So right now, it's very hard even to think about a wedding or even to set a date. So they have many questions they want to ask. So we want to support them in that way. Some of them are wondering, so if I have my wedding in 2020, 2021, what does that look like? Nobody knows anything even for us. But as an industry, we could pull together and have a series of webinars where we could answer couples' questions. And also we could maybe gaze into the crystal ball and tell them, okay, this is how your wedding may look like if you choose to go on with the wedding for 2020, 2021, because the situation with COVID is very fluid. Nobody knows anything right now. Then also I realized with our vendors, the industry people that we work with, they have very many questions. If you look at economics, they are predicting the world is going into a deep recession after COVID-19. And for a lot of us in the wedding industry, we can just see our name written on it. Yeah? That recession, we can just see our name. But we're saying we can pull together. Let's try and figure out, what does this mean? How can we survive? Not just survive, but how can we thrive in this time? So I thought of pulling together the industry, and we've organized a series of webinars beginning this week, actually. We have an 8-part series that we are doing where we can talk to ourselves and just see how we can get through this. One of the other things people are also wondering is what will happen to luxury weddings? Are people still going to spend money at all? Nobody knows anything, but we can share those ideas. Yes. But we are in a place where the world, the universe is calling on us to be more sensitive to it. Because when you look at it, we are the earth, the world is a very small dot within the big universe. And the universe actually do without the earth. Yes.
We have even seen this the other day when they flew actually into space.
Yes. But you know what? We need to start thinking about sustainability in the events that we do, but also in terms of looking about the environment. So sometimes luxury weddings, sometimes they have their own things that they bring. But luxury in itself, we have to start thinking of sustainability. And I think it's time to begin that conversation, because our clients are going to be coming back. They have already rearranged their priorities. There's a certain way they are looking at the world. And we've seen, even though they say COVID, it was initially when it started, they said it's the biggest equalizer. Whether you're rich, you're poor, it's affecting everyone. Whether you're old, you're young, it's affecting everyone. But it's not true. Some people who are really, we've seen in some regions where the poor communities, they're being affected much more. You've seen people retreating to their country homes. Basically, can you really afford to isolate? We've seen companies misbehaving, honestly misbehaving sometimes, just firing people. One of the biggest brands, hotel brands in this country, just the other day decided to fire everyone.
Wow.
And just like that, completely. People forget that this crisis will define them in terms of what people will define them.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I totally agree with you. Yeah. I said, Oh, sorry. Yeah, carry on.
So we want to talk about, as wedding businesses, eventually we don't want to begin to be seen as the business of haves and have-nots. And we also want to talk about leadership, because people with the money are going to be choosing after this, where are they going to spend their money? Yes. So what language can we as wedding service providers, because people come to us when they have money, they want to make statements, they want to enjoy this money. But they want to spend money knowing that my money, even if I'm paying this company, it is going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is how these businesses, can we start thinking about that as businesses? So I wanted to start that conversation, because even as we are thinking of Africa as a destination, poor people are not going to come and wed in Africa. People, when they choose to come and wed in Africa, they also want to look at the service providers they work with. So let's clean our house. Let's start thinking more sustainable in that way. But also just in terms of a lot of, I don't know about you in South Africa, there's, when I talk to a lot of service providers, some are wondering whether they should lower their prices.
I mean, yes, the conversation is around can
I just like one thing say about what you said before we go into this discussion? I think you are very, very right with everything what you said, and I just wanted to add from an outside perspective, because we are insiders as well as outsiders, because we have the European background, we have friends all over the world, and we see like how people actually see Africa. And also in Africa, a lot of people, when it comes to events and of destination weddings, for example, they think everybody from overseas must be rich when they spend money, you know. It's not like that. There is a lot of people, they save for a long time to make their dreams come true. And it's not that they just spend the money like that because they have it in millions of their bank account. I think we have to be very careful also when we talk about luxury weddings. Is not only like the top notch. There is a lot of people, they save for a long time for what they want to achieve and what they want to get. And for them, it is also very much important that we give them the feeling this is well spent money for what they actually saved for so long. I think this is, in most of the cases, a little bit of misperception that everybody from overseas is very rich. And that's why they can spend all the money in the world. It is not like that. And we have to give them the most for their money, actually, and the most value exactly for their money, and the best experience they could ever have. And this is how our businesses will grow, because those people, when they come home, they will talk about how excellent the service was, what they have seen, what they have experienced.
They will be the best African ambassadors for anyone who was part of the experience.
Yeah, I just want to raise this a little bit, because we always hear like there is a little bit of a difference. But now maybe we can come to your initial question.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was talking about the topics we are going to be discussing in the webinar series, which we have invited you to join, and we are glad you have international panelists. The market is very excited to hear from you. Also, to just share ideas in terms of pricing tactics that we will use, just to understand what does this luxury market, because one of the things is that, like I said, our clients are going to come back when this COVID has affected a lot of people in terms of just how we think. So it's about exchanging ideas, encouraging each other, and just seeing what is the way forward.
And I think I just quickly want to touch on that, because I hear this a lot. I mean, a lot of discussions in the marketplace, whether this is the right time to lower your prices. I personally say no, because by the end of the day, actually things right now, if you look at it from a product perspective, is actually getting more expensive. Because, for example, when we look at flowers right now, and I mean, we know we cannot have events like at this moment in time, but nonetheless, even if we're looking at 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 10 weeks from now, things are going to get more expensive. Maybe the flower price itself might be lower than before due to several reasons. Maybe because there's a flash in the market.
Not. Yeah. Maybe not,
Maybe
because
not.
they have not enough flowers, because they have not grown enough flowers.
Exactly. So
But yeah, this is all unknown.
it's a lot, but just what I'm saying, a lot of people like think that just because a lot of things are like right now, I don't want to say going down the hill, but like are really scarce also right now, that prices need to be dropped. No, most of the things are actually going to get a little bit more expensive because of how we're going to get them into the country if it's not locally grown, for example.
But also, for example, for a photographer, I mean, the photographer has the same work before COVID or after COVID.
Yes.
For taking photographs on a wedding, for actually
Editing,
edit them, make maybe a album or whatever. There's no less work for this person, and also I believe like the value in the work of our people, of our companies, should be represented in the price people pay for it. Like,
it's a certain level of service
Yeah.
as well that like cost you no matter what you're going through as a company, you know. So at least this is for like the flower side, and for the event side for us is like you need to have sort of a reference price, because for example, how do you justify if you, for example, lower your prices right now, and in 5 months from now a friend of this person who you gave a lower price for says, you know what, I've seen the wedding that you've done. You've done an excellent job. I heard from my friend how much he's paying for that. Like, how are you justifying maybe a raise of, I don't know how much percent you have like lowered the price right now to say, you know what, it was a COVID price, but what does that mean? So of course there are specials and we do discounts like for different things, but not as a general rule to say,
and
you
not
know what?
because of COVID.
Not because of COVID.
Not
no.
because of COVID. You can actually give a couple a special like rate because of whatever reason you personally want to give them. You know, is nothing wrong with that. But I personally, or we personally, don't believe that because of COVID everything has to be cheaper now, because this is also giving the wrong direction for the industry. I think like when you lower your price one day, like it will be very, very, very difficult to come up to the right price that you need to ask to have a healthy,
business.
sustainable business.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So,
this is, and I'm happy to maybe speak more about this. And I know, I know maybe this is not what everyone likes to hear, because we all like, we all like to get bargains, and we all think like maybe, okay, now
and
is the
particularly
time.
in Africa.
Yes. Now
hunting for bargains.
the right time to, but on the other hand, like if you really look at an ethical business, right now, what needs to be done is to remunerate people in a fair manner, because they had 2-3 months of maybe not having any income, and to like really cut them short right now when they might have the opportunity to do a job well. This is really cutting like off on the wrong end, like for my own perspective, because I mean, as you said, we are all in the same boat right now. We are all in the same industry. We are all struggling in the same way, but some more than others. And I think it needs to be sort of a fair remuneration, or a fair payment for a certain level of service that you can like deliver. If you right now, because of the situation that you're in, cannot deliver the service that you are actually like used to, then you can justify to say, you know what, right now I cannot get, I don't know, cheese from France or whatever as a caterer. Yeah. So I have to go local. That's why I'm lowering my costs right now to just produce the best available like product that I can deliver, but not because I just say, you know what, 25% off because this is my COVID price. This is not the way how I think is healthy for an entire industry.
And also maybe like one point more, like how your client is feeling when you say this is the COVID price. You instantly is my own like opinion, you instantly give actually opportunity for the clients to start further negotiations, you know, because they say, oh, okay, when they give us already like I don't know, 10%, maybe we can get a little bit more, you know, and where this starts and where this ends, you know, I think we have to be very careful with what we do right now, not to damage our business more than it's already damaged by the by COVID.
By the situation.
Yeah.
But Catherine, when people are now interested in hearing more about those discussions and the webinar that you are basically facilitating, how is it done? Like, how can people tune in? How can they learn more? How they can speak to us, speak to you? So how is that possible?
So we're going to be live on YouTube and on Facebook. We're going to be live on that, even though it will be Zoom. So you can register early. So we have those discussions that are just for the industry. Those ones you'll have to pre-register before. And you can register. We'll have it on our Facebook and Instagram. You can register there.
Just tell people quickly, what is your Instagram and Facebook handle?
At Samantha Bridal. At Samantha Bridal. Yeah. So you can get us even on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube is Samantha Bridal. We have a YouTube channel. Yeah. So you can get us on that. So for the industry professionals, you have to pre-register, because some discussions, I wouldn't want our couples to tune in and listen to our conversation. Those are industry conversations. So registration we will be able to allow only like the discussion we've just had now. Yeah, but I think so that is something we need to discuss as an industry. There are some people who may be struggling, or maybe just out of not knowing, they may go for that. But it's just how you talk to your clients. And a couple of clients will actually see. The other day I had a photographer tell me he had actually offered, someone asked him for a discount, so he gave the discount. But when the husband of the lady came, whom he had been photographing, he said, no, we cannot ask for a discount from this photographer because we know their industry is affected. And they paid the full price. So I think
amazing, actually, yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And,
like this, I'm taking my head off. This is integrity, you know, this is really like a huge compliment from my side.
Yeah.
Wow.
And another friend who did Mother's Day's flowers, and someone was asking for a discount, and then she goes, no, you know, ideally, under normal circumstances, maybe I would think of giving you a discount. But right now, this money I make out of here goes to pay my employees who are out of
Exactly.
Out of me giving them an unpaid leave to just go home, this money is going to pay. The guy was so happy, he bought even more. So it's how we work. Yes, he was, and he said, say no more. So, you know, these are the conversations we need to have as an industry. Because a few people to reduce price here and there, and we are all, you know,
limbo.
In limbo,
you know, but I think it's always the we have a saying in German that says it's like how you raise your voice in the woods. This is the way how it comes back, the echo, you know? So it's always about like, how are you actually communicating something? And I think right now, everyone is very sensitive. Everyone is very sensitive about money and expenses. And like, you know, I mean, we would be lying if we would be saying like, no, like even for us, like we have to really think twice what we are doing right now. We are paying our staff. Nonetheless, I mean, after about now 10 weeks of not selling like almost like anything, we still keep them on our payroll. We make sure that they are taken care of. But just like while saying that, you know, this is my responsibility as an entrepreneur. But on the other hand, I also have to communicate like towards my clients and towards my stakeholders, like saying my suppliers and everyone, just that they know what is the situation that we are in. And I think then also you can make people understand and they also like have a relationship with you. You know, it's not just like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, why am I not doing that? And as you rightfully say, so if you can really just like point 1, 2, 3 things to say, you know what, I have huge overhead costs. I had to maybe just pay my warehouse now for the last 2 months, like on my own terms from my savings. I have like kids that I have like to put to school again, and so on and so forth. Then I think also it will think in, because we are all in the same boat, because everyone right now has the same emotions. They understand. Like, it's not like I'm talking to someone in China and they don't understand the situation that I'm in. No, they have been there, you know, they understand. Or wherever we're actually going to talk to, right, or whomever we're going to talk to right now, whether it's in our own communities, in our country, in our continent, or even across like the continents, people like really understand. And this is a quite unique situation. But for businesses, I think it's essential that they stay firm to the level of service that they want to provide, and that they have a very, very unique way of communicating.
Yeah,
right
and what you said, and you also communication is
key.
Always the key to everything. I mean, if people understand, you can come to any agreement, you know. But if people don't understand, they block, and that is actually the start of the end, or the beginning of the end.
Yes. So I really like what you ladies are saying. So I hope the guys who are listening, you have graciously accepted to come to the webinars to be presenting. So I hope more people will also tune in at the time to hear more. I really like what you're saying.
You say this in a way that I assume that it is not a very common thinking, like even in Kenya. Do you think a lot of people in Kenya or in Africa don't think that way?
In what way?
Like that it's not a good idea to lower the prices because I had a feeling like how you reacted. It was a bit like you have been surprised because a lot of people maybe have a different opinion.
No. I wasn't surprised at all. I actually do share your opinion. But
Nice.
I wasn't surprised. Yeah. But in terms of, I'm very sure I know the South African market quite well. You have your top luxury planners and people like yourselves who operate within a certain way, and then there are others who operate in another way. So I think the markets are just the same.
Yes.
So
and you know what, I believe like this is, we can speak for us, and I think generally everyone needs to do what is right for them, and everyone like in this moment in time, you know, because I mean we may speak from a rather comfortable situation nonetheless, because we have a roof over the head, we have, you know, a lot of things that like make our life still like comfortable, like even in this pandemic that we are in right now. But there may be also others who do not know how to provide food for their kids, as you rightfully said also before, you know. I mean, there are people who are suffering differently.
But in particular, those need the money.
I
and
know,
in particular,
but they might
those
think differently. They might think differently right now than we do. But it's going to be an interesting discussion. So I'm looking forward to it. And so you said from the 5th, I think I read from the 5th, right? Like the webinars start from the 5th, and there will be sessions for couples and suppliers and for the industry, like in it on their own, right?
Yes, that is true.
Okay. Then so again, so when people are interested for more, they must tune in to Samanthas Bridal. And to get some more information and register, and then they're gonna see us and you again very soon,
and a lot of others,
We have other people from Nigeria also joining us. So we have Bella Niger that graciously accepted to come. We have from Uganda who have also accepted. We have a couple of from around Africa, and we share these ideas that. You know, maybe in one region they do it in another way, and in another region in a different way. So just coming together as weddings in Africa, you know, that and I think so. Time is right at the moment to start doing weddings. What is stopping us doing weddings within Africa, such that we can come to town and you guys can come here? And
Exactly.
You know, we are already planning on it. I mean, like Kenya is for us one of our main supplier for our beautiful flowers.
Yeah.
We actually import every week flowers into South Africa. We export even flowers from Kenya into other African countries. So Kenya is for us like a little heaven for flowers.
And also for weddings.
Of course,
I have a couple.
Yeah.
Like I have one a bride. She is Kenyan, and she her fiance is from Scandinavia, and they're just waiting actually for this whole pandemic to be over to celebrate. And she asked us like to actually do a destination wedding there. So I really am like a big ambassador for destination weddings in Africa whenever I can. But obviously, like the most part is that people from Africa, when they have gone abroad, they will most probably, in most cases, come back because there is something special about Africa that they cannot find in Europe, that they cannot find in America or like anywhere, because this is something that we experience. That we experience as foreigners, but that you even more so have within yourself, that draws you back to your roots. And I think this is also something that we can capitalize much more on as an industry, to bring people back who can also afford maybe weddings in Africa, still on a different level, but their expectations is much more higher because they know what people actually are paying for different things. So you really have to up in your game to make sure that you deliver a superb quality event to them.
Yes, and about networking, just the wedding people within Africa. Like that wedding you said is going to happen in Kenya, or is it in Cape Town?
Yes, in Kenya.
Yeah.
In Kenya.
How can a Kenyan bride not go to Kenya?
No, she wants to go back home. You know, she wants to go back home. So, I fully understand.
I will not actually try to convince her to go to South Africa, because this is the most beautiful place where she can go to Kenya. I mean, like, we have spent time in Kenya. We bring people for flower safaris to Kenya. We have spent time in the Masai Mara. This was the most beautiful time and experience in my life, actually. For really like seeing these and feeling this nature. I think this is something what almost no place in the world can compete with.
And you must go there. You cannot talk about it. Like, you must go there to experience it. I think a lot of people who have never been to Africa, they cannot even like comprehend. They have to experience to actually like just talk about it. So
did you say flower safari? A flower safari. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we do. We have last year, we have brought people from like I think six different countries, 3 different continents. We have brought them to Kenya for flower safaris. We are going to have hopefully another one in October when everything goes well with COVID, let's say like that. Yeah. We will go to Tambuzi, and we will have people from America, from Europe, hopefully from Africa and other countries to experience like how flowers are grown in Africa, because this is also, I mean, beside from the weddings, a lot of people have no clue how flowers are grown in Africa. They have this idea maybe, maybe there's kids working on the farms and, but there is high level quality and modern technology working farms in Africa, and we have to show this, and we have to show them fields full of fragrant flowers. I mean, this is what Kenya stands for, Kenya and Ecuador are actually the biggest flower exporter in the world,
and most advanced when it comes to flower
farming. We have to let people understand what does it mean, and beside that, we bring them to the Masai Mara, and this is the safari pod.
That is a very, very unique. It can only be found in Kenya. The flowers and the safari. I mean, only in Kenya. And I like the way Tambuzi is able to tell their story, the story behind the business. You just get It's one of my favorite flower farms, actually. I really, truly love what they do. But I love the way that Maggie is able to tell the business, the story of the business.
Yes.
No, and this is what we want to share, because
Exactly.
this was our first, I always say this was our first love when it comes to flowers.
And we
Tambuzi.
started
So
with Tambuzi,
Tambuzi.
actually, our flower business.
Yeah.
So we go through valleys and on mountains. so we go together. And we also will have Timo Bolte this year. He is a well-known floral designer from Austria, and he lives and works in the UK, in London. So last year we had Ercole Moroni. He was the founder of McQueen's in London. So we bring actually the world a little bit to Kenya, and Kenya to the world.
Exactly.
So this guy, you came, is it there was an event that happened at Tambuzi last year, flower arranging.
Yeah,
That was us. And you know what? I want to say one thing about that. At the time, I actually tried very hard to get florist or wedding planner from Kenya on board.
Also to take
part of that. We actually created a very special prize for Kenyan attendees.
To expose them, to the international market, because most people who came, they were from the industry, they were designers, they were somehow involved in the events business, to just give them the opportunity to meet and to network, as you said, because we believe that networking is so important to just broaden your horizon, to just speak to other people, to just hear how other people are maybe doing flowers, what flowers are available, whatever, just to give them the opportunity and the platform to be available.
But unfortunately, and this is really unfortunately, no one actually attended. And I really, really would hope this year, at least one or two would actually take the chance and the courage and spend a little bit of money to say, okay, I'm going to take part. I will meet people. And I mean, you and I, we know that the networking is actually something that that is so essential. We go back to those people that we know, I mean, because when or you, when we have some event somewhere in Kenya or in Africa, we know each other. We talk to each other. We don't reach out to someone that we have never met and never seen before, that we don't even know about. So you do business with people that you know. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to spend money on events that bring you together with the industry of other countries, of other continents, because this is future business.
This is what
now that you know me, I am sure that the next one, I can tell you, most of the leading planners and decorators and suppliers that I know did not know about your event. But now that we know each other, I guarantee you
we can work together. Yes, most definitely.
We have even reached out to the Minister of Agriculture.
Yeah.
Because the time when I found out about your event, we were going to Tambuzi. We were going with a couple of wedding planners, wedding decorators, florists. In fact, it was a week just after you had left. And that's when we were hearing about it. That's how I know.
But it is never too late. Exactly. So we now know each other.
So I'm sure most of them are listening. Is the beginning of something really beautiful. And, it has taken...
I'm a total fan of working with people together. And I think this is also what we got out from this, YouTube session, talking to so many people. We started rolling so many projects actually out of this for others as well as for our own companies. This is unbelievable, and I have not even expected that. This is something what I think everybody should start doing, just talk to each other. I think this is my advice for everyone in our industry. Talk to each other.
Yes, rather than staying in your small little silo. And that's why they should register for the webinars.
Exactly.
And yes. And if they want to hear more, you can imagine this has just been how many minutes, and there's a lot.
Now it's almost
9 hours 30.
So yeah. So thank you so much for your time as well. And yeah, it's been really lovely like speaking to you, and I'm
Time
looking
was
forward.
just flying. I mean,
Yes.
like
We're looking forward to what's to come.
Already over. We just started.
Yeah. So we are looking forward to what's to come. We believe that it's time for Africa. We believe that there's a lot of opportunity for business and weddings in Africa. We are happy to be part of it, and we're happy to hear more from you and be part of your story as well, and to meet some other people from the African continent who have weddings at their heart and are passionate about what they're doing.
Great. And next time I will be interviewing you to tell us how you started yourself.
Yes, we are happy to share our story.
And before we go, I just have to congratulate you, Mom, for bringing up a daughter like you. You know, a lot of wedding businesses are family businesses. Yes. And we need to start thinking about succession, like, how our children will take over the business, or, things, how our businesses can actually outlive us. And I'm so glad that you work together. Congratulations to you, first of all, for working with your mommy. Not many people, a lot of
She's the best. I invested my money when I was young into her education, so now I can rely on her.
Congratulations, mother-daughter team. You are doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think this is also very special. I personally believe that family businesses, in these days where there is a lot talked about investment and investors and other people coming into your business, I believe still that the core strengths of business are family businesses and the short way of communicating. And as you said, or as we also try to preach always, communication is key. And when you deal with family, the one big advantage that you have is that you understand each other with a blink of an eye. Mm-hmm. And I think this is also one part of the success story of every family business, because they have a certain understanding of each other and they keep space, yet they have all different responsibilities. But by the end of the day, they all work hand in hand with each other. So I think this is and specifically for our industry, for the wedding industry, not so much even for the flower industry, but for the wedding industry, it is a huge benefit, because the one person always has your back. You can never ever in your lifetime pay someone to work for you, to receive the same level of trust and to receive the same level of understanding if you're working with family.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's so well said. Thank you very much.
And so for how long have you been, when did you join the family business?
We actually started together. We started our own venue in Germany. That was 2008.
Yeah, 8. Yeah,
2008. So it's 12 years down the line now.
But at the time, we were both working in the corporate world.
We were both working corporate, and it was just a side business, a side pleasure. It
just happened. It actually just happened. We did not actually plan it. It just happened.
But I think the whole story, it's good for a new interview, because it's a long story still.
Yeah, it was also not planned that we worked together. It just happened out of situations, and I think also this is something what I think a lot of people don't take sometimes. You have to go on a journey, and right and left there's opportunities, and you just have to see which opportunity you take, or if you just carry on. And I think for us, it was like at one day that we just realized we're working together already.
So it was never planned.
It was never planned, actually, like that. And the two of us are very similar but very different in a certain way. And the similarity makes it easy, what Alfie said, to work together, but also having different responsibilities towards our own strengths makes it so easy not to clash into each other, because a lot of people, not even asking me, but asking her how you can actually work with your mom, just like that, like, and this is not an issue. Actually, we have no problem at all. Like for understanding, for working together, for making plans. Everyone has its own responsibility. We meet at certain points and then we go our own ways. And I think that's the good thing.
Thank you, Edna. And we know Edna also personally very well.
Oh, yeah.
I hope she is also tuning in for talks of weddings and events in Africa. So thank you so much for your personal words. And we're going to see where this is going to take us. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Catherine. And let's speak soon.
Thank you.
Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.